Stove fans are fantastic. This is one I've had for over a year now, and if you don't want to rely on radiant heat and you want a bit of circulation in the room, then they're perfect. So I'm just going to show you the new one that I've bought and just how easy they are to get up and running. Okay, so this is the other stove that I'm going to put the fan on, and this is the new fan, and it's pretty much exactly the same as the other one. Looks identical, except it's slightly cheaper, which is another reason for doing a new video for it. If you've never ever used one of these before, and I think I said it in the other video, it's like witchcraft. They just work by putting them onto the stove. Once the stove reaches a certain temperature, the heat travels up from the stove up through this, and there's a bimetallic, well, I've no idea what it is. And there's some wires in here. There's no batteries, there's no cables, it just works. You can see the blade is free moving, and once I get the fire going and up to temperature, you'll really see it in operation. Just before I do that, I just want to point something out on the bottom here. So that's a bimetallic strip. If the stove gets too hot, it could damage the fan, it could damage whatever it is in here that makes it work. So if you can imagine it, a bimetallic strip, it's two pieces of metal side by side, and one shrinks or expands at a faster speed than the other one at a certain temperature, which causes this to bend. I'm not going to bend it, but it basically causes it to bend outwards, a bit like a banana would do, just bends out like that. And what that does is, when it gets too hot and it bends out, it lifts it off the surface of the stove. So if that's sat on there and it's getting too hot and about to damage it, the bimetallic strip comes into operation and it just lifts it like so, which takes the heat off the fan, and it drops back down again when it reaches the right temperature. So that is that. I'll just pop that there. Something else that you get in the pack though is this magnetic temperature, and all that happens with that is you just pop it on the side of the stove, and you can read off it the temperatures. It shows you where the optimum is for the fan, yeah, but it shows the full gamut of readings on there. So we'll pop that on, we'll get the fire going, and we'll show the fan in operation. Once the fire is up and going, the optimum operating range or temperature is between about 80 and 250 centigrade. When it gets up to 350, that's the maximum operating temperature, but that's when the bimetallic strip kicks in anyway and just makes it, just raises it to reduce that temperature. Ultimately, it's all about making the stove more efficient. The more efficient it is and the better the room's heated, then obviously you can reduce the amount of fuel that you're putting on and reduce the emissions and the cost of running the stove. Right, so that's it now. So it's getting going, it's starting to warm up, but we'll see it more on the temperature there once the cast iron's all going. And then you'll see the fan in operation. And just to show you, so I've got the fan at an angle there, and that's because although this is up to an 8 kilowatt mixed fuel stove and it really pumps some heat out, what you tend to find is, because we've got a ceiling like that, all the heat just goes upstairs. So if you sat down here, you tend, well, it's just so much better when you've got a fan blowing some warm air and circulating it around the room before it all goes up. So that's the reasoning behind it anyway, and as I say, you'll see it in operation shortly. I've speeded this section up just because you don't want to wait around for half an hour until it gets up to full speed. But basically it starts after about 5 minutes, it starts turning slowly, and then as it gets hotter and hotter it gets faster and faster until it gets up to around about 1300 RPM. And even without any batteries, that's a fair old speed for a fan. And at that point it's starting to really push the heat out from the fan, and you're not relying on that radiant heat like I said earlier on. And also at that speed it's extremely quiet. Okay then, so as you can see, temperature's getting up there, still plenty to go, so this is still going to go faster, but now that it's going, I put it in this position just so that you could see it getting started. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to blow it, have it so it's blowing over the stove and out towards this area here. And again, it's all about just getting the circulation going. I can actually damp the fire down a bit now because the outside is just going to get hotter and hotter anyway. So there we go, that's the fan, protected by the bimetallic strip underneath. And once you've got it in position for where you find it gives the best results, you don't need to keep adjusting it. Basically, you light your fire and it just keeps going. The only thing that I'd suggest that you do is maybe once a year get some light machine oil and just put it onto the shaft of the blade just to keep it running smoothly. Other than that, completely maintenance free and does the job it's supposed to do for a good price.